Hi, I'm William Stewart, co-founder of Teleos. Welcome back to our verse-by-verse study on the book of First Corinthians. We're in chapter 1, getting into a very rich passage about the wisdom of God, unique passage in the New Testament. We've just covered the introduction and then the first problem of the Corinthians, of which we have mentioned there are plenty. This is over unity, lack of unity, and dividing themselves, the Corinthians, by the person with whom they were baptized. And Paul was saying, this is wrong. We're all about Christ, not about individual leaders. Excuse me. So maintain unity. So we start in verse 18 today. In the King James, we'll go 4 verses discussing the wisdom of God, and it's based off the division between the Corinthians just prior, because Paul is stressing unity, and we should strive for unity within the church, within each other. And he's saying, because again, it's the wisdom of God that has made us one and Christians. And this is so much more than what we consider as man. Let's take a look. 18, 4, and again, the word for, gar in the original Greek, means that this verse is explaining or helping to explain the prior verse or verses. The preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness, but in us which are saved is the power of God. Wow, let that sink in. And we see this in our cultures all the time. For the elites, for those who are globalists, who hate Christianity, they think we're stupid. And they call us stupid, unscientific, biased, racist, all sorts of terrible names, of which they probably are much more than us. None of us are perfect as Christians, but they exemplify these characteristics which they call us. And for us, that salvation, which the globalists, the elites, the God haters call stupid, is the power of God. So think about that. That the gospel is a way for us to know the power of God. So many of us want to see his power, want to know his power. This verse and also Romans 1, 16 and 17 tell us that we see it in the effect of the gospel as people come to faith and their lives are transformed by the infilling of the Holy Spirit and regeneration. Now, that's not the only way we can know God's power. Ephesians 6, verses 10 to 17 is how we can know it and really in our personal lives. Very important passage. Ephesians 6, verses 10 through 17. 19, verse 19 here, back in Corinthians. For it is written, when it says for it is written, that's a tip-off. It is an Old Testament quote. This one is from Isaiah 29, verse 11. I will destroy the wisdom of the wise. I will bring to nothing the understanding of the prudent. Verse 20. Where is the wise? Where is the scribe? The scribe was a Jewish office. They're lawyers, typically by the time of Christ. Where is the disputer of the world? The last two phrases about the scribe and the disputer are probably from, at least is an allusion to Isaiah 33:18. Hath not God made the foolish the wisdom of the world? Okay, so you can see here God rejects the wisdom of the elites, the globalists, those who think they're smart yet hate God. And he's turned to the foolish, otherwise those he has chosen and accept them, to show his wisdom in the world. Wow, it's purposeful. And I think you see that today. If you look at the governments across the world, there are very few professing genuine Christians in government leadership. And it's been true historically, even in the Middle Ages, where there was an adherence to the form of religion by the Roman Catholic Church, but yet these leaders typically still maintain a typical bad lifestyle and use the church for their own political means. that even then, there did not seem to be a genuine saving faith among these people as well. So, and that's a very general statement. There certainly may have been exceptions. But regardless, God has chosen people on the street, down doing daily work, not known to be the elite. I'll dare say you and I, to show his wisdom. We have that privilege. Verse 21. For after that, in the wisdom, or really a better word translation here, since in the wisdom of God, the world by wisdom knew not God. Otherwise, people in the world who hate God, our Father, want to consider themselves spiritual, and they'll even do this, or say, or speak for God for political reasons, and we see this too, but they don't know the wisdom of God. So it has pleased God, back to the verse, by the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe, otherwise by the gospel. So I think, why does he do this? Well, I think, again, to show his power. He's the one in the control. He's the one that knows. He made us. He has history in his hand. And for those who think themselves high and lofty and are arrogant, he rejects. Okay. Thanks for joining me today. In summary, we've covered the first 4 verses over the Wisdom of God section, talking about how God is the wise one, not the world, not the elites of the world, the globalists, who even claim to speak for God and certainly speak for themselves, not their wisdom, which is anti-God, but God himself. And this is the power. This is how we can know the power. One way which we can know power of God is through the gospel. Okay, I'll look forward to seeing you next time. We'll continue this wonderful passage. Please join me then.